What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. This is something that I'm going to be doing as a new series, just diving into different topics and whatever the case may be. So let's go ahead and get this started. Listen, PlayStation recently made a bold claim that caught my attention. They said cloud gaming isn't ready to outperform traditional gaming consoles, which is actually super crazy because yeah, probably not at this moment in time, but cloud gaming is coming. Listen, they argue that cloud infrastructure still can't match the performance and responsiveness or the stability of a dedicated console sitting under your TV, which is primarily true. Look, it's a stance rooted in the belief that physical hardware will always offer more in the most seamless and immersive experience. But I just want to say, pay attention because Xbox responded as well. Look, they didn't really use their words, they kind of just went with action. Look, that action is the ROG Ally X, a handheld built in collaboration with Asus, powered by Windows Game Pass and the bold vision for the future. And I'm pretty sure you can also like access like Steam and probably like different type of launchers on there, and you probably can use this semi kind of like a phone or like a PC in a way, just like a handheld version. Now look, PlayStation has already went down this road. We know what they did with the PSP. They didn't really expand on that because they took a step back with the PS Vita, but the reason why people didn't buy the PS Vita, it just wasn't good. I have one, I own one, but it was nothing like the PSP and the PSP Go. But now that we're in a whole new age where cloud gaming is even bigger than what it was, and you got things like, that's not just the DS, now you have things like the Nintendo Switch, and now Nintendo Switch just dropped the second one. It's primarily an industry that's looking to be tapped into, and whoever decides to take the driver's seat, I think that they are going to take the lead. Here's why. This isn't just a new device, right? It's a new way of thinking for Xbox, and Xbox is positioning itself not to just be a console, but an ecosystem. And should I say Xbox or should I say Microsoft? Look, it's a platform that reaches beyond one machine, beyond one living room, beyond one gaming setup. So is cloud gaming finally ready to step out the shadows and into the spotlight? Chat, let's dive in. Look, we got to talk a little bit about PlayStation cloud gaming stance. First, let's break it down. Sony's stance. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan made headlines recently openly doubting cloud gaming's potential to outperform traditional console anytime soon. He's not saying that it's impossible, just anytime soon, it ain't gonna happen. I love when I'm there. Look, Sony believes that gamers still crave high performance, reliability, zero latency that only traditional consoles can provide. And was that PlayStation's answer? Okay, you want to talk about that stuff? Let's talk about the PlayStation 6. See, Sony isn't fully dismissing cloud technology because they do dabble in it, but they clearly don't see it as their main battlefield. So they will let Xbox and Microsoft have that. Their strategy is to keep pushing hardware advancements to maintain the traditional edge. But now let's look at the other side. Xbox, Microsoft, however, sees it differently. Here enters the RGO Ally X. If you know, the Ally X itself is already out, but Xbox versions of it isn't. Xbox's newest handheld developed in collaboration with Asus. Yes, it's powerful hardware. And here's the kicker. It's built with next-gen cloud gaming capabilities, deeply integrated into it. Also, all Xbox is now going to be powered by AMD. If you know anything about AMD, a lot of PCs, that probably even some of your favorite streamers, are running chips with AMD in it. Think about it. With Xbox Cloud Gaming fully embedded, the Ally X promises lower latency than ever, seamless integration with the Game Pass in your existing Xbox library. So just think about that for a second. If you already have an Xbox, you have a PC, you have an Xbox, and now you have a handheld, Everything's already connected. Think about that. You won't even have to branch off and rebuy anything. That's probably the biggest takeaway. Do you know how many versions of Grand Theft Auto I have bought? Or how many games I have rebrought because they don't transfer over? Yeah, we do have backwards compatibility, and yeah, you could have, when the PS4 was out and the PS5 was going to get ready to come out, same with the Xbox One and the Xbox Series was getting ready to come out, you could buy a version that could translate over, but everything didn't always have that, and it wasn't always this most seamless process. But now you're saying, forget it, we're going to move it all up to the cloud, and we're all gonna be connected together. Now here's the only thing, my only hope is when the next gen Xbox does drop, just like I'm holding PlayStation to the same standard, there still needs to be a disc drive. I believe 100% there still needs to be a disc drive. For whatever reason, you go to the store, it's way more expensive, the discs are cheaper, and they drop in prices quicker. Now I understand that that's another thing that is a whole nother topic for another day, but I don't care if people look at it as ancient technology or whatever. I like having the option, because all the time I don't want to buy a game new. Sometimes I wait, and then you can go, like for instance, I bought Cyberpunk. I bought Cyberpunk for like $20 on the disc. I bought it for like $20 on the disc. And then like in the store, it's still like $40, $50, $60. So it's a big difference. So I want that option. So getting back to it, it also promises high quality streaming, rivaling native performance for many titles. So that's actually really good. Xbox isn't just supplementing for your console with cloud features. They're fundamentally reshaping how and where you game. So as I said, if they could just add that in, sneak that in there a little bit, it'll be kind of dope. So why does any of this matter? Why are we even sitting here talking about this right now on this channel? Look, it's because Xbox is betting big that the gamers no longer want to be tied down to one spot. If that's the truth, the Ally X is coming in perfect timing, because it isn't just a handheld, it's a statement. It's a console in your hand. Gaming shouldn't be limited by hardware, okay? It shouldn't depend entirely on a single expensive console under your monitor or your TV. Instead, what Xbox is saying is you should be able to take your games everywhere. Whether if you're playing on the cloud, through your PC, your console, through the cloud, your handheld, through the cloud, or just in that one hardware experience, it should be one seamless experience all the way across the box. Look, I'm gonna say this, if Xbox nails this, it doesn't just change handheld gaming, it actually changes the whole industry. It could set a whole new standard, forcing PlayStation and the rest of the industry to catch up. But I just want to mention this, PlayStation, like I said before, already been down the road with the handheld. And they made one of the most iconic handhelds of all time in the PSP. If they can replicate that type of formula, we're gonna have a battle of giants. Look, there's one thing here. We know next year, Grand Theft Auto 6 is dropping. I will be very, 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 very surprised if that is able to end up on the ROG LAX. That would be insane. I'm just putting that out there. A AAA title game as big as that? Whew. Come on now. Technology and the performance impact is still something that needs to be covered. Because while all that sounds good in theory, we need to really hit on a topic here. Let's get real. What about the performance? You see, here's the thing. Microsoft Xbox claims this new cloud system significantly reduces lag and boosts streaming stability and enhances overall gaming quality. But how much is it going to reduce lag? If you actually go and play on the cloud right now on the Game Pass, there is extreme latency. There is lag there. The quality is not that good. It's not clear. There's a lot of blurriness, and its overall stability can be shaky at times. There could be a wait because there's so many people online. But understand that these are just early tests, and yeah, they are impressive, and it's showing that cloud gaming on the AliEx isn't just viable, but is becoming a genuine competitive option. But there still is a lot of work that needs to be done there, and I want to see by the time that this drops and this releases, how would they make up that ground, and will there be updates to make it better? Yes, hardcore gamers are still going to lean to dedicated hardware. That's just a fact. Until you can prove that a handheld is going to be elite, an elite experience, kind of like how I'm not saying the Nintendo is great, or the Nintendo Switch 2 is great or amazing or anything like that, but what I'm saying is you don't have that latency from playing it, you know, on the handheld option, but because you're not playing things on the cloud. But when you option in the cloud, you bring in numerous of factors and probabilities that's going to hit for a hardcore gamer. But for an average player, Xbox is making cloud game more attractive than ever, which can be a big pool, which can get them into more of their hardware to stay within that section, which could be huge. So I'm just breaking it down like that. Like, that can be something big, and honestly, it's going to improve over time. So now this brings the question, because I've been seeing rumors that people really think that Xbox is looking to leave the console behind. Look, there are bold possibilities we need to consider. Could Xbox leave the console behind entirely? I don't think so. Look, imagine Xbox fully transitioning into gaming systems rather than traditional console providers. Look, games could be played seamlessly across the PC, handheld TVs, phones, virtually anywhere on any device with a screen. And actually, I want to say too, Amazon Fire Sticks, the new ones, can now actually download the Game Pass, and you can play games on your Fire Stick. But here's the thing, what would that mean for gaming? There will be a massive shakeup in the console market. If there's only one hardware king, which would be PlayStation, and there's no competition, who's going to be able to hold who accountable? At that point, it's really not up to PlayStation to innovate anymore. It's just up to them to maintain, and they may become complacent. Hardware becomes less important, ecosystem become king, competition becomes less about who has the strongest box and more about who provides the most accessibility, versatility, and compelling gaming service. But I honestly think the fallout would be crazy. Hardware manufacturers like Sony and Nintendo might face unprecedented pressures, needing to adapt to rapidly changing environment or risk falling behind. But look, guys, like, generally speaking, let's be honest, man. I think we still need consoles. We still need the hardware. We still need it. I think an ecosystem is better than just one way or the other, whether if it's cloud or whether if it's hardware. If I can take my game that I'm playing right now and I can pick it up, go on a plane, still play it, that's amazing. I don't have to physically pick up everything and bring it with me. And then if I can have the connectability to actually transition it to the TV with like a Fire Stick or with the AliEx, look, that would be amazing, because now you're stepping into Nintendo's land of where they get their power from. Look, PlayStation's next move is the biggest question, because what's Sony going to do? With Xbox aggressively advancing the cloud tech and possibly moving away from hardware, I pray not. Can PlayStation afford to hold on to its past? Sony's traditional console remains incredibly popular, but if Xbox convinces gamers that cloud gaming is the future, the PlayStation 6 might be fighting an uphill battle. Right from the start. Sony might need to reconsider, and soon. Do I think that they will? Heskey nah. Heskey nah. Even if Xbox is able to nail this on the head, we still have to have the conversation. Are gamers willing to wait for a game to drop that is already available on another console? Heskey nah, man. This is the one thing that PlayStation is able to continuously use to reel in gamers. I have better and more exclusives that you can have. Xbox says, but I got better deals and I'm advancing. I'm making an ecosystem. This is a power move on both sides, regardless of how you want to look at it. But I genuinely think PlayStation's not worried. I do think that they have a ticking time bomb ready to launch at any time. And Xbox is really going to have to position itself to hit this on the head. Because their partnership with AMD, with Asus, with Steam, with Epic Games could really, really propel them ahead. But PlayStation's name, advancements, powerhouses, titles can propel them. This might be a fight that many thought was over, but guess what? The bell still ain't rung. The bottom line is this: PlayStation says cloud gaming isn't ready, but Xbox is betting an entire house on that. The ROG, LAX isn't just another handheld. It's a bold declaration that the future of gaming is everywhere, available anytime, and is increasingly impressive as it continues to grow the cloud. So who's right? Is Xbox paving a new way? Or is PlayStation right to stick on the tradition? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and keep your eyes on the cloud, because this gaming war is just starting to heat up.